Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 388 based on novel. So let's start. This finger appeared too suddenly, without any warning. Water thought he had destroyed the other person's avatar, and his mind was being affected by the madness from the seven-colored nail when it appeared. This finger appeared at a heavenly opportunity. There was no better time for it to appear. It was right when Water was defenseless. Water's expression changed greatly and his speed of retreat reached a limit, but he still couldn't dodge. The shadows that appeared before him attempted to dodge, but they suddenly collapsed. Rumbling sounds echoed across the world as the shadows were all destroyed by the finger. Finally, after destroying everything, the finger rushed out and pressed down on the seven-colored nail between Water's eyebrows. An indescribably powerful force rushed out and Water screamed. The seven-colored nail mercilessly stabbed in. It broke through everything by force, 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. This nail was only 7 inches long, and now it was embedded 5 inches deep. Just 2 more inches and it would be completely inside, and at that time, Water would be seriously injured. Because this nail had pierced the spot between his eyebrows. It was a weak point for cultivators, unlike the shoulder, where Wang Lin was stabbed. At this moment of crisis, Water's face turned pale and fear filled his eyes. He was well aware of how powerful the seven-colored God Void nails were. When he saw his master being stabbed by 94 nails, that painful expression was something Water could never forget. "Master, save me!" Water retreated, but the finger followed to push the nail in even more. At the moment Water cried out, a powerful force came from within his body. This powerful force condensed on the back of Water's right hand and turned into a charm. The moment the charm appeared, a golden light lit up the dark space and spread out. The finger pressing down toward the seven-colored nail was hit by the golden light and dissipated, releasing a hiss in the process. "Lord of the Sealed Realm, back then you said this slave that had helped you a lot, so you gifted this slave a charm that would protect his life 3 times. When he betrayed you, you clearly had 2 chances to kill him, but you let him go, wasting 2 uses of the charm. In the end you died. Now tens of thousands of years have passed, and the 3rd use of the charm is being used. You're still going to protect the Tao slave that betrayed you. I admire your cultivation, but I disdain your ways. Your ideals are too inflexible." The ancient voice let out a sigh and slowly dissipated. Water was soaked in sweat. At this moment, enduring the pain between his eyebrows, he felt a lingering sense of fear. He grinned and let out a roar at the sky. "Master, thank you. You still have to protect me after death, which makes me somewhat sorry about what happened, but you must die, you must die." Water had been shrouded by the madness from the seven-colored nail, but he was suppressing it with his powerful cultivation. However, that madness had changed his personality. Otherwise, given his cultivation level and age, he wouldn't speak like this. "As long as it hasn't drilled all the way through, once I kill this and I can enter closed-door cultivation to force this nail out." Water's eyes lit up. He no longer hesitated and charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were still open. He felt himself slowly walk toward death as watched everything that had happened. When he saw Water charge at him, there was no panic in his eyes. Instead, there was absolute calmness, as if all the madness from before had been released with his vitality. Life and death, karmic cause and karmic effect, true and false. All of these are opposite existences. After life, there is still death. I have used a fist of life, but I can still explode all the death within me. Let us both die together. I can collapse all my ancient god stars in exchange for one more attack at my peak. I can destroy my star of lore in exchange for endless origin energy and split the heavens." Wang Lin seemed to become enlightened in something, and his eyes revealed a strange light. The death aura within him suddenly formed a vortex. This vortex could destroy the world, break yin and yang, and shatter reincarnation. Unexpectedly, there was a hint of essence coming from this vortex. This was essence. This was the most important thing to becoming a third-step cultivator. Wang Lin was no stranger to essence, as he had obtained some before. However, he had obtained it from the battle scrolls. It wasn't Wang Lin's own essence, but an external force. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin gained enlightenment in life and death. The moment his death aura erupted, he comprehended his own life and death essence. Even though this essence was very little, this meant that the door to the third step had opened a crack for him. This was like a bucket of cold water being poured on daoist water. The madness in his eyes dissipated greatly and was replaced with shock. This child has the potential to become a third-step cultivator. He actually comprehended his own essence. There are countless cultivators in this world, but third-step cultivators are extremely rare. This child could actually reach this point? If given enough time, I fear that he could become a third-step cultivator in just 1,000 years. Daoist Water's expression became gloomy, but his determination to kill Wang Lin grew even stronger. He must die? Daoist Water charged at Wang Lin. He raised his right hand and a giant cultivation planet appeared before him. He was about to use the power of this cultivation planet to crush Wang Lin, who he thought of as an ant that had turned into a mortal that had turned into someone with the potential to become a third-step cultivator. The death aura around Wang Lin rotated like crazy. The life and death essence inside was growing. Although it was slow, it was real. It seemed like it was going to break free from the death vortex and appear in this world. At this instant, the royal ancient god stars, including the just recovered sixth star, all shattered. Shattered stars. All 6 stars exploded. At this moment, an even larger vortex appeared outside the death aura vortex. This vortex was filled with unimaginable ancient god aura, and another essence came out of this vortex. This essence was born from reaching completion in the karma domain. The ancient god shattered stars were an action of karma. Without the stars shattering, how could there be power? Shatter and power were karma. In this moment of life or death, Wang Lin's shattered stars allowed him to comprehend his second essence. Karma essence. This Daoist Water's expression changed greatly. Wang Lin's life and death essence had already shocked him, but at this moment, a monstrous wave was set off in his heart. There was actually a second essence. Just one essence is enough to become a third-step cultivator, but having 2 essences is extremely rare. Only people like Sovereign, Qin Lin, and other amazing talents could enter Dao with 2 essences and reach the third step. If this child can reach the third step, then the moment he enters, I will be no match. My only choice will be to escape. Daoist Water had only ever met 2 people with 2 essences, Sovereign and Qing Lin. These 2 people were all extremely powerful, so much so that Daoist Water could not compare to them. However, now he was looking at a third person with 2 essences. At this moment, he even had the thought of taking Wang Lin in as a disciple. However, the moment this idea arose, it was erased by him. This child hates me to the bone, but his talent is extremely rare. Even in both the inner and outer realms, such a talent is one of a kind in tens of thousands of years. This kind of person will die by my hand. This gives me more joy than the destruction of any amount of magical treasures. Ha ha! Such a gifted person will be killed by me. The madness in Daoist Water's eyes became even stronger as the cultivation planet closed in on Wang Lin. Just at this moment, the star of law between Wang Lin's eyebrows suddenly collapsed. The collapse of this star of law formed a third vortex that swept the world and surrounded Wang Lin. In this third vortex, there was actually essence as well. The true and false domain was contained inside his star of law. The moment this new law collapsed, the true and false domain reached completion. A true and false essence came from the vortex. This was Wang Lin's third essence. Life and death was the first essence. Karma was the second. True and false was the third essence. 3 essences suddenly rushed out from the 3 vortexes. However, they were still weak and needed a long time to grow. When they reached a certain point and became complete, Wang Lin would be able to enter Dao with 3 essences and become a heaven-shaking third-step cultivator. This scene caused Daoist Water's attack to stop, and his eyes almost popped out. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. 3 essences, 3 essences, no one in this has entered Dao with 3 essences. This child is heaven-defying. If he enters the 3rd, even if he has just entered, I won't even be able to escape from him. 3 essences. Sovereign and Qing Lin only have 2 essences. Even Master only had 2.5, unable to completely realize the 3rd one. How could his child have 3 essences? This kind of person is someone even the heavens will want to destroy. If he becomes a 3rd step cultivator, even void turbulent cultivators will be no match. He could destroy the world and rule supreme. Who the hell is he? He can't be an ordinary cultivator, but the reincarnation of some powerful cultivator. What kind of powerful cultivator would have the ability to reincarnate and cultivate 3 essences? Unless he is the reincarnation of a legendary, 4th step heaven-trampling cultivator. Daoist Water was a 3rd step cultivator, but at this moment he was frightened by everything he saw. Since I have provoked such an existence, I must kill him, or else there will be no place left for me. Daoist Water's face was pale as he clenched his teeth. His power as a 3rd step cultivator erupted as he fused with the cultivation planet and smashed down on Wang Lin. Even if you are the reincarnation of a 4th step heaven-trampling cultivator, you will still die for me. For this old man to kill this kind of person, it was worth it. Die, die, die. Daoist Water was scared out of his wits from the essences that had come from Wang Lin's body, and his eyes almost popped out. Wang Lin's 3 essences were far beyond his imagination. He didn't dare to think about the destructive power Wang Lin would have if he lived and became a 3rd step cultivator in 1,000 years. The moment he reaches the 3rd step, he will be powerful enough to face those that have been at the early stage of Nirvana Void for tens of thousands of years. In fact, they will be no match for him at all. Such a heaven-defying figure would even make the heavens jealous. He should never appear. I will kill him, I must kill him. If not, there will be no place for me in the future. At this moment, Daoist Water didn't even know that 3 essences weren't even Wang Lin's limit. He had given up his life and comprehended his 1st essence, the life and death essence. He had shattered his ancient god stars and comprehended his 2nd essence, the karma essence. He had destroyed his star of law and comprehended his 3rd essence, the true and false essence. However, within his body, which hadn't dissipated yet, there was still the fire of the vermilion bird. This vermilion bird fire had already gone through 3 metamorphoses. Each metamorphosis had greatly increased his comprehension of fire. The 3rd metamorphosis allowed Wang Lin's mastery of fire to reach a terrifying degree. All fire spells had to yield before him. If there was a cultivator that cultivated fire spells, Wang Lin could wave his hand and trigger the other person's fire to kill them. Even if they didn't cultivate fire spells, Wang Lin could use their anger and burn them to death. In this world, the most powerful fire was the flame of anger. Everyone had it and it was invisible, but once it began to burn and you couldn't hold out, you would die. Above the fire of anger there was also the burning fire which had earth-shattering power. The burning fire was burning fire itself, allowing the fire to burn a 2nd time, resulting in incredible power. However, above the burning fire there was still Dao fire. If Wang Lin could reach that realm, he could directly burn another's domain. This was no longer a spell or ability, but something infinitely close to a Dao spell. Wang Lin's comprehension of fire was not at all inferior to his comprehension of life and death, karma, and true and false. If those 3 could give birth to essences, then naturally the fire would also give birth to an essence. However, this essence was well hidden, and Daoist Water simply couldn't notice it. This was due to his cultivation level. If there was a 3rd step cultivator at the spirit void stage, they would be able to see the 4th essence that would shock all 3rd step cultivators. 4 essences, 4. More than Sovereign, Qing Lin, and even more than the Lord of the Sealed Realm. More than any cultivator that had gained enlightenment in both in the inner and outer realms. If the Sovereign knew of this, he would do whatever it took to take Wang Lin as his disciple, no matter the cost. If Daoist Water knew of this, he would be even more shocked. To him, Wang Lin was like a seed that could become the true ruler of the ancient star system, a real ancient celestial and a legendary fourth-step cultivator. Although this person was still growing, it was still shocking. However, for wasn't Wang Lin's limit. Under the hidden fire essence inside Wang Lin's body was his last essence, the fifth essence. Thunder. Heavenly thunder essence. He had devoured half an ancient thunder dragon origin soul, transformed his origin soul for over 1,000 years, and absorbed the thunder from the ancient scattered thunder clan. This allowed him to exercise the right over thunder in place of the heavens, but if were to go one step further, he could replace, in place, and command his own thunder. Then, if he gained enlightenment and devoured 9 different kinds of thunder, he could become the master of thunder and complete his thunder Tao, giving him incredible power. Others would be acting in place of the heavens, but Wang Lin would be acting according to his own will. These 2 essences were hidden deep within his body, and Daoist water couldn't detect them at all. If he knew Wang Lin actually had 5 essences, what kind of shocked expression would he have? However, all of this was extremely weak and dangerous. As long as Daoist water's attack descended, he would completely kill Wang Lin and make Wang Lin die right now. Once dead, these 5 essences would disappear. The birth of 5 essences on one person, which had never happened in the inner or outer realms, would be lost. Right now Wang Lin was too weak before a third-step cultivator. However, as long as he had time and opportunity, Wang Lin could quickly become a powerful existence that even third-step cultivators would have to yield to. None of this was completely certain, but when faced with Daoist water's life and death crisis, Wang Lin had given birth to 5 essences under the pressure. Everything changed and Wang Lin became the cultivator with the most essences in history. Die for me. Daoist water revealed a crazed look with a hint of terror and excitement. These expressions together showed his perverted personality. He wanted to kill this heaven-defying, talented person. He wanted to kill this person he suspected to be the reincarnation of a fourth-step cultivator. He wanted to kill this person that could match the most powerful treasure in the world. On the cultivation planet he threw, the 1.5 billion water Tao disciples gave off a shocking force and descended on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were completely calm. At this point, he had let go of everything. Live or die, it didn't matter as everything was flashing by. The only things he couldn't cut off were his parents, Wang Er's love, and his friendship with Sichu and Qing Shui. He didn't want to cut those off, he was unwilling to cut them off. He would simply take them all and walk toward death together. The fire of death could be brighter than any star. If one died with no one near their heart, their death would be lonely and cold. However, if there were still lingering feelings in the heart, even death could be as bright as a star and shine far and wide. You want to kill me, then let us die together. As the giant cultivation planet smashed down, Wang Lin opened his arms. The 3 vortexes moved like crazy and the fire and thunder essences inside his body rushed out. This attack was beyond the 100 punches of life, more powerful than the god-slaying war chariot. This was an attack using the essences Wang Lin had just comprehended to launch the most brilliant attack in his life, his last spell. The heavens and earth rumbled as the star fog collapsed and dissipated. The entire Rank 5 region shattered and 5 giant spatial cracks appeared in the Rank 6 region. They become an eternal separation line in the cloud sea. Even in the Rank 7 region, a spatial crack split it in half. This attack was infinitely close to a third-step spell. It was enough to destroy any Nirvana Shatterer cultivator and Heaven's Blight powerhouse. Even the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor would without a doubt die. Wang Lin could only use this attack once because it was used at the cost of collapsing the 5 essences he had just gained. By destroying his 5 essences, this little cultivator was able to launch an attack comparable to that of a Nirvana Void cultivator. It was brilliant and amazing. There was no hesitation in Daoist Water's eyes. His shock could lift the world, but he had to attack and kill Wang Lin. Even if it would result in an injury that would make him have to go into closed-door cultivation for thousands of years. Even if he would have to destroy the 1.5 billion water Tao disciples he had gathered, he still had to attack. If he retreated now, he would without a doubt die in the future. It would be better if he killed Wang Lin here and destroyed any potential issues. Die? Daoist Water's eyes revealed monstrous killing intent as the large cultivation planet descended and touched the vortex containing 5 essences. However, just at this moment, a shocking change that no one could have thought of occurred. Before this battle, Wang Lin had combined with the All-Seer and used to defying one's bead to break the fog and see a hope of survival. That chance of survival was a jade that belonged to Liu Jinbiao. At this moment, Daoist Water's cultivation planet was about to collide with Wang Lin's essences vortex, and Wang Lin was about to explode his essences so they would both die together. The jade that had integrated with his origin soul that disappeared with the heaven-defying bead and couldn't be found by Daoist Water suddenly appeared. The jade shined brightly as it came out from Wang Lin's body and floated before him. The moment the jade appeared, Daoist Water trembled violently and his eyes became filled with fear and panic. His face became pale without any trace of blood. Even the cultivation planet formed by his spell stopped in the air, and the 1.5 billion Water Dao disciples all trembled violently. An indescribable pressure came out of the jade like crazy and spread out among the stars. It's Master. This is Master's aura, this is Master's jade, and this is the sealed realm jade. This is the only thing Master brought with him from the ancient celestial realm. Ever since his master died, he had always been nervous. Now that he saw the jade, the fear he had for his master erupted. Just at this instant, the jade floating before Wang Lin released a golden light and a finger suddenly appeared. This finger shot out as a ray of golden light and pressed down mercilessly on the nail between Daoist Water's eyebrows. Its speed was unimaginable. Daoist Water seemed to have forgotten to resist, as his fear for his master had filled his body. He didn't dare to resist. He also had no time to resist. The finger landed on the 7-colored nail and it sunk in 2 more inches. The 7-colored nail that had already sunk in Daoist Water's skull 5 inches had been completely embedded into Daoist Water's head. Daoist Water let out a miserable scream, and at this moment, an invisible flame seemed to burn his soul. This caused a violent pain that erupted inside his body. The 7-colored nail was specially made for killing third-step cultivators. The mysterious meteorite that was refined by the sovereign contained a power not even the sovereign himself understood. This power could damage a third-step cultivators to an unimaginable degree. Even the Lord of the Sealed Realm died after being stabbed by over 97 colored nails. The incomprehensible force caused unimaginable damage. Right now, if this 7-colored nail hadn't completely entered Daoist Water, he wouldn't be in a life-and-death crisis. However, the avatar of the old man from the Wind Celestial Realm arrived, and his surprise finger had pushed the nail 5 inches deep. This made Daoist Water almost crazy, and he couldn't suppress it. Using his powerful third-step cultivation, Daoist Water barely suppressed it by force. He was going to kill Wang Lin and enter closed-door cultivation to heal. However, he could have never expected that the moment his spell arrived to kill Wang Lin, his master's jade would appear. The shock the jade had brought him wasn't any weaker than seeing the heaven-defying bead or his master. However, none of this brought him despair until the finger appeared. Daoist Water was too familiar with this finger. He recognized at a glance. It was this master's finger. This discovery made him almost lose his wits. He didn't have time to beg before the finger descended, causing the 7-colored nail to completely enter his skull. At this moment, when the 7-colored nail had completely entered Daoist Water's skull, the 7-colored nail began to melt. It gave off a powerful 7-colored glow that filled his brain. At this moment, Daoist Water's orifices all gave off 7-colored light. His head was like a cork with 7 holes where 7-colored light could shine out of. While screaming miserably, Daoist Water seemed to have gone crazy, and he rapidly retreated. His eyes were filled with a monstrous struggle as he resisted the 7-colored light in his mind. It was just that no matter how much he struggled, it was useless. The 7-colored nail had turned into liquid in an instant and filled his mind. The pain was heart-wrenching, and Daoist Water let out painful screams. The struggle in his eyes became even weaker and he almost lost his mind. Master, you gave me a charm to exempt me from 3 dangers. Now that the 3 times have been used up, you came to kill me. Karma, karma, karma. Daoist Water let out a miserable smile, but his face looked ferocious. I won't obey. After you died, I reached the third step and became a powerhouse. I'm the Lord of the God sect. I'll take your place. 1.5 billion water Tao disciples, explode for me. Give me your Joss flames to resist the seven-colored gob void nail. Daoist water let out a mournful roar as he retreated like crazy. He broke through the void and retreated back toward the God sect. The giant cultivation planet closely followed him. The 1.5 billion water Tao disciples collapsed and the Joss flames that belonged only to third-step cultivators rushed into Daoist water's brain to resist the seven-colored light. Thunderous rumbles echoed inside Daoist water's body and disappeared with him. Daoist water was crazed the whole way. He constantly suppressed the destruction inside his body and quickly disappeared. The thunderous rumbles gradually weakened after he left. Only silence remained. It was so quiet, it was as if no other existence was left. Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes. He had broken everything. Even though he hadn't self-destructed to take Daoist water down with him, his injuries were far more serious than the ones he sustained back in the demon spirit land. All his vitality had been consumed and he had become old. The moment he closed his eyes, the three vortexes returned to his body and the five essences moved to inside his body. However, no matter what, they could not recover the lost vitality. Just as he closed his eyes, a vortex appeared between his eyebrows and the heaven-defying bead slowly flew out. The moment it appeared, it melted and spread out across his entire body. At this moment, Wang Lin seemed to become a stone person. A statue of an old man. At the same time, the jade floating before him also melted and entered Wang Lin's eyebrows, disappearing without a trace. Shortly after, not far away, where the trident collapsed, there was a cloud of crystal light. The light closed in on Wang Lin and disappeared into his right hand. Also, at this moment, where the third god-slaying war chariot's butterfly had collapsed, there was a weak, seven-colored glow. A vague seven-colored butterfly formed and struggled to flap its wings. It slowly flew toward Wang Lin and dissipated into specks of seven-colored light that entered Wang Lin's body. There were also those two black and white short swords. They reformed as phantoms as if a mysterious force had brought them back to life. They turned into black and white deer before entering Wang Lin's body. Everything was over. Wang Lin's consciousness was immersed in darkness and he slowly fell asleep. His body became stone under the mysterious power of the heaven-defying bead and slowly floated among the stars. The rank 5 region had collapsed. It was now filled with spatial cracks and the cold wind coming from within them. There was also a large amount of hidden vortexes. Wang Lin floated through the rank 5 region. After an unknown amount of time, it could be 1 day, 10 days, or maybe 1 month. Wang Lin had turned into a statue of an old man and continued wandering the rank 5 region. Sometimes he would encounter a vortex and get thrown far away. Sometimes he would encounter a spatial crack and cracks would appear all over his body. There was also a woman in the rank 5 region. She had arrived an unknown amount of time ago. When she arrived at the battleground where Wang Lin and Daoist water had fought, tears flowed down her face. Am I late? The woman bit her lower lip until blood came out. She looked sadly ahead. At this moment, it was as if her heart had died. A death aura surrounded her body and lingered. Do you want to save him? An ancient voice came from the stars and landed in the woman's ears. The woman's body trembled. He isn't dead, but he is dead. You need to find the stone statue he turned into and then I'll teach you of a way. Maybe it can bring him back, but this method has a big price. The voice became weaker until it felt as if it was never there. However, his words made the woman's eyes shine with determination. She gently nodded as she wiped away her tears and began searching through the collapsed rank 5 region. Time passed by. 3 days, 10 days, 19 days, until 30 days later. In the corner of the rank 5 region, the woman saw the statue of an old man filled with cracks. She hugged the statue and her tears fell down on it, but no sound came from the statue. Holding the stone statue and shedding tears, the woman gradually left to a place no one could find. To a wild continent hidden in an unknown region of the Cloud Sea. There were many fierce beasts on this continent because very few people had found this place over the countless years. When the woman arrived, the fierce beasts began to roar, but they immediately became silent. It seemed the aura coming from the woman's body had made the beasts tremble, and they didn't dare to make a sound. In the northern part of this wild continent, the woman descended into a valley with the stone statue. She tidied the valley up and silently looked at the stone statue as they settled down together. Every day, the woman would stand before the stone statue, bite her fingertip, and cover the stone statue with blood. The stone statue was very rough, so the pain in her finger was intense. However, the woman looked at the eyes of the stone statue as if she didn't know what pain was. The stone statue was very big, the size of a person. To cover it in blood would take a long time, and her wound would often heal halfway. After doing this many times, this pain was like torture. Day after day, this pain was worse than any torture. Every time she covered the statue with blood, the statue would absorb the blood. It would shine as if it had recovered some vitality, and it even looked less old. At the start, after covering it in blood, it would take a full day to absorb, but as time passed, the speed increased and the blood would often dissipate in 10 hours, causing the woman to have to cover it again. 1 month, 2 months, 4 months, 7 months, 1 year. A whole year had passed. The woman needed to cover the entire stone statue with blood without missing a spot. She looked very beautiful while carefully covering the statue. In this year of time, the stone statue had become brighter and brighter. Its appearance slowly changed from an old man and became younger. Only the woman's face had become more and more pale. The large amount of blood loss that contained origin energy made her look like a blooming flower that was wilting. He has lost his vitality. If it was ordinary vitality, it could be restored. However, what he lost was the vitality of his mind, his origin soul, and his soul. If you want to revive him, you must nourish him with vitality. The woman silently looked at the statue. Her gaze seemed eternal. At this moment, Wang Lin was seeing a dream while he slept. A dream with one of the biggest opportunities in his life, and it was related to the heaven-defying bead. This video will end here.